Hello, everybody. This is Adam Bryan, and this is TCSN Live. And we got two superstar grassroots people with us today. We got bottom up and top down. So please welcome Lauren Ashcraft from running for Congress in District 12.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for everything you're doing. Thanks for coming on. It's huge for us. We've been on for a while, and you're doing the thing, so that's really awesome.
Thank you.
No problem. We're just trying to do what Bernie told us, bottom up, start independent media so we can interview all the candidates running for Congress.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference because every time that we get our platform out, then more people can join the fight.
Right. Got one more person that wants to jump in here to say hi, everybody. It's Bernie Sanders from the Progressive Puppet News Network.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey, Bernie, we got Lauren here.
Hey, Lauren. Oh, I heard that you're a progressive. Is this true?
It is true, and you've inspired me.
Hey, you're inspiring me right now.
You look a little bit different from the last time I saw you at a rally.
I'm more animated when I'm on the internet. They say the camera adds 15 pounds of fluff. So
love it.
Great. Well, Lauren, you're also a comedian, right?
I am, and we have a comedy show coming up on January 30th at Catch in Astoria. So I would love to have everyone who's watching join us. Tickets are on our website.
Nice. Okay, that's awesome. We're going to post the website and all her other links below after the video. Let's go back a little bit and tell us how you got into politics.
Yeah, so I wasn't in politics. I actually was in grassroots organizing in my community before. So I am a stand-up comedian, as you mentioned, and there was a kind of Me Too movement within the stand-up comedy scene in New York City. And I wanted to provide a safe place for women and diverse comics to perform. So I just started producing my own shows that were free to attend, and also just a place where people could practice their craft. And then the general election happened in 2016. Right. And we were super depressed that Donald Trump was going to be our president, which I still actually can't believe. And so after the general election, we had a fundraiser for Planned Parenthood using our stand-up comedy. Nice. And that just was a box that we passed around and people put their pocket change in, and it ended up being a sum that we were proud of handing to Planned Parenthood. So we decided to do the same thing the next month. I think it was ACLU that we fundraised for next. And then it just kept going every single month. Then for the next few years, we raised awareness and recruited volunteers and partnered with nonprofits throughout our community, like soup kitchens, and we also worked with the Flint Water Crisis and California Wildfire Foundation. So trying to help clean up the messes that our administration is still starting. So that turned into Collection Box Comedy, which is still around today, just on a little bit of a hiatus because the producer's a little bit busy.
Oh, right.
But that really inspired me, and just being able to partner with so many inspirational nonprofits throughout the community and see grassroots efforts actually making a difference inspired me. And I also got involved with the New York City Women's March and helped to plan that rally since 2017, and got really involved in those efforts out on the street. And I have to say the Women's March helped to inspire me to get involved in politics, because it is such an empowering experience, and you see so many women and non-binary people kind of being inspired to run for office and support each other. So I have this vision for my community and also for the country that every single person has full and equal representation. That's unfortunately not the case right now. When people think of New York's 12th district, they do think of, wealth. They think of it being one of the most expensive places to live. But unfortunately, that's only partially true. There is some wealth concentrated in some some specific areas in the district, but there are also people dying on the streets, homeless, people rationing their insulin, people struggling to survive. That's happening right here in this district, and it's a very visual representation of the inequalities that we've allowed in our society, this district. And so whenever I look at my congressperson, my opponent, Carolyn Maloney, who accepts a huge amount of money from corporate PACs, including big real estate, which has done quite a number on our prices for living here and also for gentrification. And when I look at the fact that she's accepted defense contractor money and continues to be complicit with war and the GOP and giving Trump the budget and power that he asks for. And I think about the fact that she is fighting for more access and more transportation for the Upper East Side whenever I think about the fact that most of our subway stations in this city are not accessible to people with disabilities. I just think that her priorities are so out of line with what everyday people need in our community. So my family is an example of what happens when people go completely ignored by their representatives.
Okay.
On one side of my family, my grandfather was a coal miner in West Virginia and was killed in a coal mining accident because of corporate greed. And his wife, my grandmother, was a Japanese immigrant who was left as a single mother and new immigrant to fend for herself with the small Social Security checks that she was left with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and faced a lot of racism and xenophobia throughout her life. And also on the other side of my family, my other grandfather fell while he was working and became a quadriplegic. So I saw my family kind of all pitching in and becoming his caretakers and having to redo his home, and also just seeing how representatives completely ignore people with disabilities. And so whenever I'm walking around New York City and see every single day how inaccessible it is, I think about the fact that the Americans with Disabilities Act is almost as old as me, and it has not gone far enough yet in making sure that we are fighting for people with disabilities to have access to the same things that me and you have access to.
Right.
And also, I want it to be expanded and enforced by the federal government so that the enforcement doesn't have to be the burden of people with disabilities that often have to sue to be able to access the same places that we do. So all of these things have inspired me to run. My family has inspired me to run. And also just being an everyday person that experiences the same issues as my neighbors, while our representative is somebody that does have a lot of personal wealth and seems to be completely disconnected from everyday issues in our community. So LaurenAshcraft.com, and we are grassroots funded. Our average donation is $25. So every single grassroots donation, $1, $2, $5, makes a huge difference for our campaign, especially if every single supporter gave that much. Then we would have no problems winning this election. So thank you all for tuning in and getting involved in this movement and for your passion. And we need you because you are our partners in winning this movement and taking Congress back for the people.
Hey.
And I want to get in there and support Bernie's platform so we can actually save our planet and save all of us.
I think you're on point. I think you're fantastic.